Bob, to begin, though, to Martinsville, Virginia, where the half-mile short track had one of those controversial finishes. Proud Papa Darrell Waltrip showing pictures of Jessica's first trip home. The day didn't end so quiet. Martinsville usually won from the top three, so Jeff Bodine, Morgan Shepherd, and Terry Labonte looked good. Bodine led, and like so many times this year, some incident took him out. The race uneventful until the end. Dale Earnhardt gliding to a seventh short track undefeated win until this late yellow set up a final lap to the checker. Darrell set this up for us.
Terry and Dale got together back up here in turn one, or turn two. They got all sideways. I had a good head of steam going down in the corner, and I was able to get under them.
Well, here it is, winless Labonte and Waltrip chasing NASCAR's biggest winner in a long time. Only drivers in the cockpit know absolute truths, but it does appear Terry encroaches Darrell's racing lane.
It's just close racing. I think I touched Terry and he touched Dale, and him and Dale went up the hill a little bit and left me about him to go by. No comment. We got to look at the tapes. NASCAR's got to look at the tapes, like always.
Are they going to do something?
Hell no. That's, the wrong person done it.
NASCAR reviewed tapes and punished no one. Owner Rick Hendrick was almost as happy as Waltrip, who, by the way, was resplendent for the first time this year on race day in his orange tied suit, not as usual, dressed white.
The first half of the '87 season was a big disappointment for Darrell. The dream team of Waltrip, Waddell Wilson, and Rick Hendrick was just not competitive. Waltrip credits Jeff Hammond's addition to the team as the turning point. A fourth at the Firecracker 400 was, at that point, his best finish of the season. Prior to last Sunday, Darrell had a second at Richmond, but the win keeps alive his streak of having won at least one race every year since 1975. And there was some incentive for the new father last Sunday.
This morning, they delivered a rose with a message on it from Jessica, my new little daughter, and it said that God had blessed her with a great daddy, and that for me to win the race for her today. So I had a lot of pressure on me.
The winning car didn't have a name until then. Now it's been christened, what else? Rosie.
Darrell's car owner, Rick Hendrick, won $1,000 Tuesday as the fastest in practice for the Grand National race October 10th at Charlotte. That after he spun the car and brushed the wall. And chosen to drive Rick's Folgers car at the Charlotte Winston Cup race is Jimmy Means. But instead of 25, the car will be numbered 52.
And, it was just one of these days where everything went right. Otherwise, we'd have been sitting up there with him.
At Peevely, Missouri, in World of Outlaw competition, Jack Hodenshield flipped in a heat race, but came back to win the B main. He was running well in the A until this flameout. That allowed Steve Kinzer to cruise to victory. In Bloomington, Indiana, Rodney Ritter may have set a world record for height achieved in a flip, but Rodney walked away from this. Again, it was Steve winning at his home track. He also won the next night in Brownstown, Indiana.
The Winston 300 NASCAR modified race was at Thompson Speedway in Connecticut. Although the pole sitter Brian Ross found himself headed in the wrong direction, he continued to a third-place finish. Jimmy Spencer, points leader, and Mike Magic Shoes McLaughlin battled for the lead for a while. But then as darkness set in, Jimmy and Jeff Fuller tangled with just 5 laps to go. Magic Shoes beat Doug Hebron to the checkered. Spencer's point lead over Reggie Ruggiero is 86.
The New England 300 Coors Tour event, the final race ever at Catamount Speedway in Milton, Vermont. Beaver Dragon had some timely comments before the race about the track and his fellow competitors.
These newcomers, they come up here and they just run way over their head. They take themselves out, they take the good cars out, and it makes for not a good show because usually half the field is wrecked.
Little did Beaver know he would indeed be involved in this flip, the end-over-end kind you rarely see in this type of racing. Paul Cabana cruised to victory. It's the end of an era at Catamount. The president